Well, when I was 11 years old, my father gave me 30 used traps that he had bought at an auction. He was a sharecropper, and money was tight, never had much at all. So he gave me these traps, and I got a few left just for old time's sake, hanging around. But as a kid, I trapped the Frenchman and the Stinking Water up by Hamlet, Nebraska. And I did fair at it, I guess. Be that as it may, those days are gone for me. I quit as soon as we left the farm. I never hunted or fished again. But being on the McCook streets day and night for the last 28 years, I've had roughly 40 people tell me of encounters with game wardens. Not one report was a good report about game wardens. A lot of sad and bad stories, I kid you not. They make the game wardens look like bullies and monsters, and God knows I think the reports were truer than the government would like you to know. With that in mind, though, I'll tell you this one game warden story that I personally know. When I was a kid and we were 5 miles north of Hamlet, game warden came into the yard and talking to Dad. I went out there and he was saying that somebody's poaching deer. He said there's evidence down on the creek. And Dad said, yeah, he'd seen the same evidence. And the old game warden says, I'm pretty sure I know who did it. And he said, I'd like you to come with me. And Dad said, I want nothing to do with it. He said, the guy that did it's a neighbor. And he said, I know he is. But he said, no, I'm not going to arrest him. I just want to talk to him. So Dad went with him. And so all three of them, and when Dad came back, he related the story. He said the game warden and him confronted the man, and they informed him that they were not going to arrest him. The game warden wouldn't arrest him. And so the man confessed to the crime that, yes, he'd been poaching deer. And the game warden said, I understand. He said, you got hailed out. That's a bad thing. No insurance, and the man was too proud to take any government aid. And so what he did was poach deer. He had 4 little kids to feed through that winter. And he was a sharecropper just like my father, except on that side of the canyon it got hail. And so the game warden said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. He said, do you have enough meat? And he said, well, he'd poached 4 deer. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you poach another 4 deer if you need them and you use every drop of the meat. But if it gets out into the public that this has happened, I'll have to arrest you. Or if you give that meat to any other family or anybody else, you will be arrested. Or if you sell the meat, you will be arrested. But as long as you're feeding your family, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to look the other way. And that's how it was. And so a game warden, using a little bit of common sense, which the government doesn't have anymore, but that law enforcement, he was a true game warden that realized that the animals are here to serve us and to feed us in times of dire need, as that family had. And so I nominate that game warden, though he's now dead, posthumously, if you will, as the best game warden the state of Nebraska ever had. And the ones today with the bully and the Gestapo attitude, they'd learn a lot from a man like that. This is McCook's Mr. Bill. Rate this film.